Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Guitar Tone Tuesday. And as you can see, I'm at a different location today, and that's because I'm at the home/workshop of Ted Brown from Blackwood Guitars. Ted, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for coming all the way out here to visit us. We're going to do a complete shop tour when you're done.
Absolutely.
And I hope you enjoy the guitars.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very cool. Now, Ted is based in Mallorytown, and which is, for those of you who aren't from this area of the globe, it's kind of between Ottawa and Kingston, Ontario, I guess I would say. And Ted, you've been doing this for a while now. How about you tell me how you got into building guitars?
That's an interesting one. I'm a furniture maker by trade. Furniture maker, trained here in Ottawa, also trained in California back in the early 90s. And one day I was walking down Bank Street and I wandered into the Folklore Center and wandered out with a Luthier guitar.
Yeah.
And that was the start. And I started to take lessons and I thought, you know what, I could build one of these. So I did. And the first one, was a first one. Mm-hmm. And so then I went up and I studied with Sergei de Jong up in Quebec.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's got quite the reputation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a genius. He's really, really good. So I studied with Sergei. We became friends. And then a few years later, I went back again and did some advanced training. And since then, I've been working very hard at developing my own line of guitars. And I also teach here at Blackwood.
Cool. And how long has that been that you've been really building guitars for, would you say?
Really, since 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're about 13 years in now.
Yeah.
And you've got some really beautiful guitars that you brought out to show me today. And this week's episode is on these two designs right here. So how about you tell me about the one that you're holding first?
Okay, this one is the Soloist. So it's a smaller guitar. It's a 14 fret, so it's meant really as a fingerstyle guitar. It's got a granadillo body, walnut and maple neck, and a European spruce top. And as you can see, it's got a cutaway.
Yeah, that's very cool. And why don't we just talk about, I know a lot of people have heard about European spruce, but what about granadillo?
Yeah, granadillo comes from South America. It comes under three different names. You'll hear it called hormigo and macacauba. So it's a very interesting wood. It's the same hardness as Brazilian rosewood. So it has really good sonic qualities, and it was often used for making marimba keys. So people call it the wood that sings.
That's really cool. I mean, I have a nylon string guitar with granadillo, and it's funny. I never knew that granadillo had those different names. So I actually didn't really know that my guitar was granadillo because I was always told it was hormigo.
Same thing.
The same thing. That's good to know. That's really cool. And yeah, I find that it has a very beautiful kind of shimmering quality to the trebles. I believe that the back of a guitar really makes a difference to the sound as well as the soundboard. And yeah, I definitely hear that rosewood thing, but it has extra shimmer. And how about we take a listen to that guitar right now? We're going to go to a playing clip and we'll hear how it sounds. tell me about what makes your guitars different, what you would consider kind of your trademark as a builder, what's important to you.
It's all about a good guitar made by a hand maker is all about little details. Taking care at every step what you do from the first day where you stand there and you're tapping a soundboard saying, is this going to be the right one? You're tapping the back and sides, doing the same thing, listening for ring. Using woods like Granadillo, you don't see that a lot in a music store, if at all. And so it's picking woods in a sensitive way, but it's also design, things like stiffening the neck, both in the heel area and down the length of the neck. Stiffening the body of the guitars. I don't want to get into a whole lot of technical discussion, but stiffening the body of the guitar so that you get vibration transfer all the way down the instrument. And how you place and carve the braces is really key to the sound. And what you alluded to earlier, Lucas, the character, it's like the grape in a wine. The character of a guitar really comes from the back and sides. So selecting the back and sides really does change the nature of a guitar.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta say, for new guitars, I don't know exactly what the magic formula is, but these ones sound very open, I have to say, for new guitars. You know, it's not always the case. You know, sometimes you get a new guitar and it sounds tight, kind of feels stiff. These ones don't. In particular, this one, to me, this one feels really, really natural, and it certainly has quite an interesting tone. All right, so you heard it at the beginning of the video and you heard it right now. This guitar, called the Celt, is very, very special. It's got a big open sound, and as you can see, it's not a huge guitar. So tell me about the design of this one.
Yeah, the Celt was designed as a guitar that's big enough to have a big voice, but not so big that you get that overburdened feel that you get with some dreadnoughts. Sometimes people will feel like their shoulders way up in the air, their arms way up in the air, and it's just a bit hard to get around. It has a little bit tighter waist on it, which allows the guitar to sit just slightly lower on your leg, so that's helpful. So it's kind of what some people might call a 7/8 dread.
Okay, cool. And the back and sides on this one are what wood?
This stuff's pretty funky. This is Catalox. It's spelled Katalox. It's a wood that's very hard. It's about a third harder than our standard, which is Brazilian, right, at about 2,700 Janka. This in the Janka scale is more like 36, 37.
Wow.
So we get a bit more reflection, a little more brightness out of a guitar with a wood that is that hard.
Yeah, I mean, to me it's got kind of a rosewoodish thing to it, but it has a slightly, I guess I would say, like, slightly drier sound, maybe? Is that
okay.
possible?
That's fair enough.
Maybe it's kind of like ebony? Is that what you would say? Like, is it that kind of hardness?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it just feels awesome. I mean, like, if I had my eyes closed and I wasn't holding this guitar, I would think it was much bigger than its size. You know,
I see.
To me, it has all the good aspects of a, you know, almost a dreadnaught, but it does have more control, and that's great because microphones like that, you know, and
Nice.
And I think even being on stage, if you were to put a pickup system in this guitar like this, you'd probably be less prone to feedback, you know.
Okay.
And that's just my experience, anyways. You know, so it's a nice design, and these are all your own designs. These are not shapes that were taken from.
That's correct. I don't follow anybody's shapes. I design by hand and eye, and I spend days and days drawing and redrawing, and then I'll make a guitar sometimes, and then decide, no, I want to change it. And there was a lot of revisions to the Celt, and this has been the most common guitar made at the guitar making school, because it's kind of a do-everything guitar. It, like you say, it has the sound of a big guitar without being quite so cumbersome.
And it has a sound port, and maybe that adds to the bigness as well.
Absolutely. That gives the player, it's like having a monitor speaker, right? It gives the player more sound coming back.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's lovely. This particular one had some nice sapwood on it. I'm just reaching over here along the bottom edge. So I left that on. It has some wormholes. So I leave those kind of things because I believe that we should let the wood be beautiful. I don't adorn my guitars with a bunch of what we call doodads because I like the wood to speak for itself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's classier that way.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's not over the top. People won't look at that guitar and say, oh, it's blingy, but they will look at it and they'll say, oh, that's beautiful. You know? The wood is a work of art in itself, and the way that you put these things together makes them absolutely gorgeous. So
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show, Ted. Just curious, how can people find you online?
Oh, I'm at www.blackwoodguitar.ca, and I'm on Facebook. There's a big presence on Facebook as well.
Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you, Ted, for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, and we'll have you on again very soon to talk about another special guitar that you've made.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see everybody again next Tuesday.
Take care.